Hi, my name's Kat, I'm 30 years old, a beginner investor, and in this video I'll share how much I made through dividends on my Trading212 Stocks and Shares ISA in May. Because after watching other videos like this for ages, I've loved how open people are about their investments and dividends, and I decided to start sharing my progress here too. I'm very nosy, I hope you are as well, and that you will like, subscribe and enjoy this video. So the month started really well with a dividend of 5 pence coming in from General Mills on the 1st of May. I had 0.51 of a share, which cost me £20.78. My next dividend was 1 week later, and this was from Anglo American for 1 pence. I owned 0.46 of a share, which cost me £10.28. On the 9th of May, I had 3 pence from Serco Group. I owned 1.19 shares, which cost me £2.23. This was followed by 9 pence from M&G, where I owned 6.87 shares, and that cost me £16.27. On the 13th of May, I had 5 pence from Aberdeen Group. I owned 0.65 shares, and this cost me £20.46. The next day, I had 3 dividends paid to me from Sanofi with 4 pence. I owned 0.01 shares, which cost me £1.20. Segro with 3 pence. I owned 1.5 shares, which cost me £10.49. iShares with 27 pence. I owned 5.68 shares, and this cost me £45.15. On the 15th, I received 4 dividends from NNN Wright for 15 pence. I owned 0.65 shares, which cost me £20.46. Realty Income paid out 18 pence. I owned 1.12 shares, which cost me £47.19. ABBV sent 1 pence. I owned 0.01 shares, which cost me £1.68. Then Procter & Gamble paid me 6 pence. I owned 0.18 shares, which cost me £22.76. Another 4 dividends arrived the day after. Costco for 1 pence. I owned 0.02 shares, and this cost me £20.85. Rheinmetall sent 1 pence, and I owned 0.002 shares, which cost me £3.28. Money Group paid out 5 pence. I owned 4.85 shares, which cost me £10.14. Mondi Group also paid 5 pence, and I owned 1.27 shares, and this cost me £15.34. On the 20th of May, this was a big day as I had a dividend from Caterpillar for 39 pence. I owned 0.43 shares, which cost me £112.43. I was very lucky when I caught this stock as it was dipping during the tariff announcements in April. As always, I wish I'd bought more, as the price at the time that I'm recording this is around $600. After that, I had a dividend from Lloyds Bank for 43 pence. I owned 42.88 shares, which cost me £33.11. I had bought these at the suggestion of a friend who had started investing at the same time as me, and after doing my own research, decided it was a solid buy. Obviously, I now wish I'd bought more. The next day, I had a dividend from Phoenix for 5 pence. I owned 1.63 shares, which cost me £10.37. Next was my biggest dividend so far, and this was from Aviva, totaling £3.07. I owned 19.67 shares, which cost me £120.16. Walmart then paid me 3 pence. I owned 0.3 shares, which cost me £22.52. I then had more dividends from iShares at 38 pence. I owned 5.93 shares, which cost me about £26.98. LTC Properties issued a dividend of 1p. I owned 0.07 shares, which cost me £1.97. Greencoat UK Wind sent me 87 pence. I owned 37.57 shares, which cost me £42.53. The share price has dipped quite a lot since I bought in, and it does have quite a high dividend yield, which I'm a little worried about, but this is a long hold for me and I hope it will go up in the future. My final dividend for this month was from Gladstone Commercial for 1 pence. I owned 0.18 shares, which cost me £1.98. This left me with a total of £6.33 for my dividends in May. This felt like such a big jump from the month before. I found myself checking the Trading212 app quite a lot throughout the week, and getting a notification that I'd been paid another dividend felt really motivating. My goal is eventually a small house with a sunny garden and a dog, probably a greyhound. I will be taking name suggestions in the comments since it's never too early to start thinking about it. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to follow my investing journey, and if you want to see what happened in June or how I started my investing journey with Plum, check out these videos.